Huddle up, Wildcats. It's time for another installment of the Coach's Corner. That's right. This is where you get the opportunity to walk deep inside the locker room, right alongside the Hardy Huddle, and you get to sit down and hear straight from Coach what's going on in this program. Whether it's football, whether it's swimming, whether it's basketball, or whether we're in the band room chilling with the Blue Star Brigade, this is your opportunity to hear straight from the men and women who are out there on the front lines, giving our student athletes everything so they can in turn give us the enjoyment of the orange and blue experience. So fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a great ride. So here we are for another episode of the Coach's Corner. Huddle up, everybody. Welcome to another semi-small edition of the Coach's Corner. We are here today with Coach Derren, Bryan. We're actually enjoying a little bit of the pre-game festivities, if you will, a little bit of late breakfast. I know the guys have a practice early this morning, kind of getting sharp, getting ready for this evening because we have a Saturday night showdown. I've heard some people say it's a 17 South showdown between Fort Meade and our Hardy Wildcats. So, Coach Bryan, once again, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, sir.
You're welcome, Ryan. Thank you for taking time to learn more about what we're doing in here. It's special stuff.
Yes, sir. It's an absolute privilege and pleasure for me to be here. But I would like to kind of start before we get into tonight and Fort Meade and everything that kind of that entails. Can you give us your perspective on last week's recap of Lake Weir between the trip and the team dinner and all of that kind of goes in?
Yeah. So we try to have a special game each year, where we're trying to get them used to a travel, take a charter bus, give them a meal, play a team a ways away, just go through that trip. And so we chose to be our first one. It wasn't chosen really because of Lake Weir. It was when we jumped SSAA, our week 0 game was supposed to be against a SSAA team. Okay. And when we jumped into that league or that association, there weren't a lot of week 0 games left.
Gotcha.
Weir was having a hard time finding a game because they were coming off of the not defending, but the year before SSAA state champions. We asked several schools around Tampa if they wanted to play. They were no thanks, coach. Which I think that's great that we have a little bit of a reputation. But if they really saw our roster, they would probably be licking their lips a little bit.
Well, I want to go down that rabbit hole. There's some people that I was talking to in town, mostly alumni, and we were talking specifically about the schedule, and we saw week 0 Lake Weir, and where is Lake Weir? What is Ocala? Good Lord, what? And then talking about the roster specifically, you have a slew of underclassmen. We've kind of dubbed it the year of the underclassmen across all Wildcat sports, because everybody from volleyball to golf to swimming, even like a lot of captains are being named, and you're seeing sophomores and juniors and freshmen that are in vital roles. So unofficially, it kind of feels like the year of the underclassmen, if you will. And it's kind of fun to kind of go down that rabbit trail for a second. So when you have a group like this, I personally think it's brilliant to test the bonds of family. Put your butt on a bus. Let's go 3 hours from home, and let's see how you guys do. So, how do you feel about how did it go in your mind?
It went good. It was. I wish we could have played a little longer, but but guys got that right. So it was a perfect night. We loaded up and headed out and had a great ride up. Stopped in at Golden Corral. Tried to get those guys not to eat too much.
Belly up.
I think coaches were tearing it up more than the kids. But there were nervous stomachs, which there should have been. And I told them before we left, I said, believe me, you need to make sure you try to use the restroom before you leave. There's like 2 stalls at the Golden Corral. I'm telling you. So sure, but it never fails. There was a long line before we left. Tummies are nervous, and kids are eating a little bit, and then some of our big dogs, they could eat anything.
They eating a lot of it.
And but then there's a long line as soon as you get to Weir. But we got to Weir, and it was really cool. We were a little bit behind in schedule, but not too bad. Coach Red had a incredible devotion on the bus, man. It was good. It was good. It was one of the it ranks up there with some of the Coach Matt's that Coach Matt Scott used to do for
Yeah,
us
man.
all the time. I mean, he did a really, really awesome devotion. Just fit so well, fit like a glove in our faith and what we're kind of facing this year. And it was mainly just I guess the topic was, just because you work hard and do things right, just because when you become a Christian, it doesn't mean that God's going to just give you this easy path.
Oh,
there's
preach.
going to be rough times and tests of faith when you carry your cross. And so just because you've worked hard at practice, just because we've worked hard, does not mean we're going to just win this game.
It's not given to you.
It's not. It's nothing. And but the work does earn you a spot on the team, just like becoming a Christian earns you a spot in heaven. And so, and but the time between there and now, it could be full of rough times. And he talked a lot about how in the early days about how Christians really were targeted and those kind of things. It was just a great devotion for our young kids to know that just because you put in that time doesn't mean that, and you show up, you shouldn't just. No, we want to expect to win because we want to expect to win because of the preparation. We believe, kind of like in the days when you would go get ready to take a test, and you knew going into that test if you were going to knock it out or not because of how well you've prepped, right? So we don't talk about good luck around here. We talk about good prep because
Good word.
Yeah, because luck equals preparation plus opportunity. So if you're prepped and you have a chance to show it, you're probably going to do well.
Right.
Right. But good luck is luck's not a good strategy. Right. So when we walk on the field, we know we got a feeling whether or not we're going to do well or not because of how well we prepped that week. But it was neat watching we talked a lot about, we're teaching a lot about presence on the bus. I mean, we're not young anymore. Right. We're inexperienced. So we got some juniors on our team. We got quite a few juniors now, but have never ever played football. So the level of experience that we put on that field and that we're going to put on tonight will be that we have had 1 quarter and 3 minutes of a football team that has played in the position they're playing ever.
That's awesome.
Every single person is playing in a new spot because we've either graduated 21 or we've had kids just decide they don't want to be part of Wildcat football because making the commitment to summer and spring and stuff. But like Tyson Davis is a good example. He's a junior for us who started at right guard, who's now our center. So we don't have anyone other than Will Florimon, who started at corner for us last year. So there's one person out of 22 players of starters that has played in this position before up until Lake Weir. That was it. Lake Weir is the first time those guys have ever played that spot. So we're really, really inexperienced. We're green. We're not young as much as age-wise. We are young, but we're very, very inexperienced. And so Lake Weir was a great chance for them to see action at game type speed and really see simple mistakes that we were 3 running plays. I mean, like literally one person away from it being 21 to nothing fast. So when we went back and watched film and saw how close we are, I hope we're a little bit closer this week. I really cut our offense down, really tried to make it to where we are going just fundamentally. The theme behind this year's football program is, I hope when coaches look at us or when other teams look at us, they look and say, they don't do a whole lot and they may not be really fast, but they sure are fundamentally sound. Yeah. And they will run the veer right at you, and that's whether they run it good or run it bad. We're going to run it each week until we get better and better and better. And so, because that's the foundation of this offense and this team is, I think this offense really wants to speak to this team of hardworking Wildcats that are undersized, not as fast, and are going to use toughness and technique to try to win.
I love that. And I think it speaks to more of the credibility of what you just said, because you have spent a very long, hot spring and summer getting to this place with a lot of young men who haven't played at this level. So talking about the maturity and the expectation level of this house, I know you and I were talking before we went on record here. There's a lot of young men who really enjoy being here despite those pieces of adversity, whether it's the heat, whether it's the expectation, whether it's the practice, the work. What is that X factor? Why do so many young men love being in this house, number one, surrounded by this staff, number two, but like just the Wildcat culture? What's new? What's the X factor there?
Well, this is part of that, being sarcastic. I don't think we have enough here yet.
Okay, that's fair.
But the ones we do, we have more than we've had.
Yeah.
How about that? And we have more than we had last year. We have more than we had the year before. And we have more than the year before.
Right.
And so I think the buy-in is got to do a lot with what we worked on all summer as coaches in this book and it being a 3D coach. It was, before I get into too much detail of that, there's three aspects of coaching that we believe in that, as a staff, that we've embraced this summer. And the first dimension of coaching is just a transactional relationship with a kid, where you look at him and you say, I want you to down block, or I need you to run the ball this way. You're just talking about football, and it's a transactional relationship. Coach tells me what to do. I say, yes, sir. I go. And then the second dimension becomes more of a relationship where we walk up to them, we put our hands around their head, and we knock them in the head and say, "Hey man, how was your day today?
Yeah.
What's going on at home? How's school? Did I tell you I love you today?" Those kind of things. And they learn that the love we're talking about isn't the same love of girlfriend boyfriend.
No.
But we begin to build bonds with those players, and it's something that I expect every one of our coaches to do. And we've read that book together. We've shared stuff as a staff this summer that there was things that we found out about Coach Rivers that none of us knew. And Steve made a comment one time, I've coached with him about 20 years and I never knew that. And so it was all going through the relational part of that. And then
Show's an awesome dude.
Oh yeah, no, they're all awesome. They all are such great lovers of football and of young men, in a way of building young men, right? They love to be here and to help young men become men. I
do need to give you kudos on that, because before we came to actually record this, you had a coaches meeting, and thank you for giving me a glimpse into that world of what you guys do at the round table. But you told your coaches, hey, before we hit the field, get in that room, talk to your guys.
Yeah.
If you need to shore things up, okay, shore things up, but at the very least, just check in.
Yeah.
Hey man, let them see you, let them hear you, and then in turn, you need to listen to them. Hey, what's going on? You good? Ready to go?
Right.
Being excited. So that speaks volumes about a program, despite X's and O's.
I think that is. I think that's a big piece. I think our not being scared to share our faith, but not pour it down their throat.
No.
Is important, and that's the third dimension of our 3D coaching, is to get into the place where we can, when we should, when there's a time that's right, if it's needed, to share what we believe in as men and what drives us, and that's a huge part of our program. And not that it wasn't part 20 years ago. It's just, I think it's more. It seems like when you put it in today, it becomes more of an emphasis. And I don't know if it's. I know a lot of our kids don't go to church as often as they probably could. Shoot, I don't either. But that's neither here nor there when it comes to what they're doing. But this is a place that they're going to get faith, and they're going to get family, then they're going to get football here. And
that's so good.
So that's maybe that's why they're loving it here more. Because we've got kids of different faiths.
Sure.
And we pour into them just as hard as we do, and not trying to convert, but to embrace what they have.
Right.
Making sure that I don't know a lot about theirs, but I know that they want to be as dedicated in theirs as we are as ours. So we give them that opportunity. And then it's about that 2D coaching. We've got to. I want those running backs because when Sean Rivers is a good example. I'll pick on Sean. When Sean gets excited coaching, and he gets onto a kid for making a mistake, they've got to see the love behind that criticism. If they don't, then if it's just purely transactional, then you lose that kid.
Yeah.
But if they understand the reason you're getting on to me is because you care about me and you want me to be better, you really do, then that his excitement and passion becomes motivation for them to change.
That's a good word.
Not a reason to walk away, but that gum Coach Show just got all over me. He must really want me to be better because he's hugging me and telling me how much he cares about me outside of football.
Right.
And so that's really we took on that challenge this summer as a staff to really go through into that 3D coaching book. It's an FCA book, but that Coach Dukes is, and I know Coach Dukes. I've got him on my phone. He texts and how's things going, Coach, and so. But anyway, I hope that's the reason that we've had a kind of fellas wanting to be here. That it's not just football, but it is a place of football. And right now they want to be here because we haven't lost a game yet.
That's honest.
Don't ever forget that part. Don't ever forget that part.
Well, let's talk about this. Is official week 1.
Yes.
We're actually getting into the schedule now. I know everybody's excited. It's a little bit different because we're playing on a Saturday night. It kind of has that extra fun flair about it. It's something new. Maybe a lot of guys haven't really played under a Saturday night light before. What's the overall vibe in the house? I know we got Fort Meade coming down.
I don't know. These guys are so inexperienced. I don't know if they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Or if they're we've poured into them. Like I said, I'm telling you, it seems like I've coached harder this year than I ever have in my life, and I think I have. I think I have. I think these guys have, and because we're looking at such an inexperienced team, like we are having to dial things back where we last year were dealing with much older kids. They may have been working a different offense a little bit, but they were football players for a long time.
Yeah.
Our starting quarterback is going to be in his second ever varsity football game as a 9th grader. Our starting right guard, everyone except Tyson is going to be starting for the first time in a real home. They'll be the first home start ever in these spots. And so, I tell our left tackle, Gabe, I said, Gabe, you're no longer a 9th grader. You've started in a varsity football game. You don't get to call yourself a 9th grader anymore. You're a varsity football player. It's time to put away those childish
that's so
things.
good.
And that they've got to grow up because we're a really, really good JV football team that would be out there playing JV games. Like our JV went to Lake Placid last week or day before yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And got beat pretty good, but they held their own. But they were playing against a team whose varsity team was not playing that night, the next night. So a lot of their young kids that were varsity players played down. Gotcha. Well, we only let a few of our young kids go over because we're playing tonight.
Right.
And so, but if that team, if my 9th and 10th graders that are on our varsity team this year would have been on that JV team, which in years past, that's always the way it was. When you look at our, Mrs. Royal is trying to do something about our 2014 this year with the Athletic Foundation. I was looking at that roster. There's 50 kids on that varsity roster. And, we're looking at 38 here.
Right.
So that's what I meant while we're still working on numbers. And 5 of them were 9th graders. 2 of them were sophomores. The rest were juniors and seniors. So that's where we want to be eventually. That's where this class will be.
Right.
So in terms of rebuilding the program, last year when I started, I had 2 coaches at the high school, John Sharp and Steve Ruiz. And John was in credit recovery, so he's not walking around. Steve was a little bit in PE part-time. That's it. And now I've got 5. Right.
Boots on the ground. Yeah.
Boots on the ground in PE. Coach, we have a athletic weightlifting class for all athletes now. We didn't have that last year.
Big win.
Mr. Tubbs, and it was just awesome for us doing that.
Huge win for
We've got study halls now built into Tuesdays and Thursdays where if we've got kids that are struggling, academic coaches are jumping in with them. I mean, that's such a big piece. And our head JV coach is a math teacher at the junior high. Again, boots on the ground, recruiting. Our numbers are going to keep coming up. We have kids coming and wanting to play each day. And we're open the door. Just come on. There'll be a time where we're going to have to stop letting them because it'll just be too late. But here at the beginning of the season,
sure.
But But anyway,
Well, I know you got stuff to do, Coach. I don't want to keep you much longer. I love you for your time. Thank you so much for the insight into your program. I want to ask you one more question before we get out of here.
No problem.
Let's take the scoreboard out of the equation for tonight. We're going to have two communities who are close-knit in terms of athletic competition that are going to gather here tonight and put people on the field for the enjoyment of athletic competition. What is a win tonight? Take the scoreboard out of it for you and your program, for the guys out here who are going to get a chance to walk out onto that field for the first time tonight. What's a win for them?
A win for us is to watch these young cats bow their neck and play tough football.
Yeah.
Because they can be good, and we're getting closer. We're not where we want to be yet, but the little things that we've regressed in what we're trying to do, both offensively and defensively, and just try to go as fundamentally sound as we can. But all that is about putting your hand on the ground, screwing in that cleat, and bowing your neck, and coming off the football. Tackling, blocking, and running, I mean, are the biggest things in catching the football. That if we can fundamentally do the things that we put in this week, we'll be okay. We may not, this, like you said, the scoreboard taken out of the
Yeah.
They're a very athletic football team. They pride themselves on. It seems like everyone in Polk County prides themselves on the what we call the transfer portal.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever. I don't know if they've had any come in or leave. I don't know. I don't watch the social side of it. But I know our kids pay attention to it. I know fans do and that kind of stuff. But what I've seen on film, they're a very athletic football team. We're going to battle that with trying to be a very fundamentally sound team. Last week, our goal was to not fumble the first snap, and we made it. We fumbled the second snap. So this.
But hey, objective complete, right?
We made that goal.
Yeah.
We made that goal. Tonight says to try to get a whole series without turning it over. If we do, then we're better. So we just and you know, Coach Red said it good. He said we're going to be one spirit, one purpose, and that is going to be just to try to get better every play. So
Well,
we'll
Coach,
see. We'll see what happens.
I'm going to get up out of your hair and let you go prepare for tonight. I want to say thank you again. I'm excited. And, hey, man, not good luck, but good prep for the night, man.
Good prep. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Wildcats, we'll see you down here at 7:30 for kickoff. Don't forget we have pregame, 6:30. The Blue Star Brigade will do their march-in, and we also have the Wildcat Legacy Walk. Come support your Cats. We look forward to seeing you all, and I will see you later. Bye.